Alright, in this next effect, and I'm not sure if you saw it in the introduction or if you caught this effect, but this is also a really popular way to transition from one scene to another, where we use masks in the real environment to transition from one clip to another. So in this clip, if I just hit play, you'll notice there's this pole right here because we're driving along the highway looking at the ocean, and as we drive, that pole goes by. But now watch what happens when the next pole gets here. I'm going to use that to transition slowly from one clip to another. And if I just kind of keyframe into it, you'll see there's the next pole coming, and then behind it, it's going to wipe all my footage into the next clip. And in order to do this, we need to use After Effects. Okay, so now we're inside of After Effects. And the way I have my scene set up here is I just have my two clips set up on top of one another, and the first clip, the ocean clip, is my top clip. So you're going to want to select that clip, and if you just hit M, you can always see your masks and the mask path that I've created. So if I'm going to create this from scratch, let's just go ahead and get rid of this mask. You'll now see I don't have anything there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the first scene where my mask starts to show something to the left of it, which is where I want my clip to start appearing, is right here. So with that clip highlighted, I'm going to grab my pen tool and I'm just going to draw. I'm just mousing over here. Fit up to 100. Let's just zoom out just a little bit. I'm just going to draw right along the edge of that and just kind of give it some room back there. By default, it doesn't invert the clip, so you're going to want to click inverted, and there we go. We've got our first little path here with a mask, and we're going to click mask path, and that's going to set a keyframe. So I could go through here and do each one of these individually, but it's a pretty constant speed since I'm driving. So I'm just going to try going all the way to the end of my clip, and here, now coming into my mask path, I believe you can select your pointer tool and you can just hold shift, and then it'll make these, give you the ability to highlight these. So let's go ahead and, using page up and page down on my keyboard, let's go back, and it looks like I did a pretty good job of following this pole through my scene. And if you want to make refinements and adjustments, if I've gone a little too far, I can just pick a keyframe here, do something like that, and that'll do a good job of fixing it throughout my scene. So I'm pretty happy with that, and this is called, just, I didn't rename this, but this composition is called P102223. If I come back into Premiere Pro, what's nice is I'm using the Adobe Dynamic Link Manager here, and you'll notice I do have a problem here already where I'm seeing my mask. So the last thing that I forgot to do, and you usually see this right away, is when I started it, now I also have to finish it. My mask path has to start out of the scene here. So if I just do that, now we're good. And if I come back, I've got all my keyframes. So let's jump over to Premiere Pro. Good, now it's gone from my scene. And if I go ahead and just slowly tab through here, I'm using my left and right arrows to go next frame. And what I'm probably exposing is I have a frame rate error here, and that can happen where you'll notice it is lurching to the next frame with the mask, but nothing's happening in the scene. So the reason for that, let's take a look here, is that my composition is set to 24 frames. Now, the footage I'm using is also 24 frames, so it should be 24 frame rate should be what I'm using inside of my sequence here. But if I go to my sequence settings, you'll notice there's my problem. I have it set to 29.97 frames per second. So make sure that you are using the same frame rate throughout, or you're going to notice problems like that inside of your effects. Just like that. And if I come back, there it is again right there. So important to do that. But other than that, that's how you accomplish the effect. You just move a mask path through your scene and you got yourself a pretty cool transition. So I hope that was helpful, and stay tuned for the final effect that I used in this video.